Welcome to a live anchor chart on how to multiply fractions. When you multiply a fraction by a fraction, you're multiplying a value less than 1 by another value less than 1. So, if a fraction is a piece, then multiplying fractions is really like taking a piece of a piece. And when you take a piece of a piece, you get an even smaller piece. So when you multiply a fraction times another fraction, you'll always get a product less than 1. Let's talk about what it really means to multiply two fractions. Here's a visual. This is a tray of brownies. Half of it's been eaten and half of it's left. Half the tray. I want to make sure my family of 4 is able to share the tray or the remaining part of the tray, so I'm going to make sure that everybody knows they are only allowed to have 1/4 of the remaining tray of brownies. So while that may sound like I just said, great, everybody has 1/4 of the pan of brownies, remember that the pan is only half full. So really, it's 1/4 of half, which is multiplying 1/4 times 1/2. So in order to do that, I would take my tray and I would split it further into 4 equal parts. And here's the 1/4 of the half. So notice, here's the piece. But what size is that piece? How much of the pan am I getting if I get this piece, which is 1/4, because I split 4 equal parts, but it's 1/4 of 1/2, because only this half of the tray is remaining. So look at how many equal parts this tray is now split into. Now it's 8 equal parts, because I split half into 4 equal parts. 2 times 4 is 8. So now I'm getting one piece, but it's not 1/4. The size of the piece is actually 1/8, because it's 1 out of the 8 pieces that make up this full tray. So we would each get 1/8 of the full pan of brownies by each taking 1/4 of the half of the tray that's left. Now that's why the answer is 1/8, but that may not be a practical way to multiply fractions. You may decide you don't want to make a grid like that. So let's take a look at what happened here. What really happens when we multiply fractions if we're not going to make a visual model to help us see what the product is? Well, what happened is we took the numerators and we multiplied them, and we took the denominators and we multiplied them. So that's our fraction number 1, numerator and denominator. Fraction number 2, and the way we get the product is we multiply the numerators, we multiply the denominators. So, for example, let's take the fraction 2/3 of 1/4, or 2/3 times 1/4. A piece of a piece will give us an even smaller piece. The way we figure out that smaller piece value is numerators multiplied, 2 times 1, and denominators multiplied, 3 times 4. 2 times 1 equals 2, 3 times 4 equals 12. So the product of 2/3 and 1/4, or 2/3 of 1/4, gives you 2/12. And of course, that could be simplified by an undercover 1 called 2/2, and the value of 2/12 is actually 1/6. So that is how you multiply fractions.